Okay, good. We're good. Yeah. All right. Thanks, man.
You can leave it up here for a second. Yep. And then if you just want to toss it back there when you're done.
Okay.
I don't think we have any small people. And Trevor will be marching in with them. So we're good.
Good.
Okay.
That's good. I'm gonna sit by each of these guys and
Take a seat.
Well, this is the last time you can leave the stage.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll let you do this
For
once.
once.
Then I have to sit you down because we're gonna be starting.
No, I was gonna, check on you guys before I sit down. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, guys, go ahead. That's good. All right. Very good.
Yeah.
Parents,
Family and friends, welcome to the main event of Parents Weekend 2017. Today's commencement speaker, Joseph J. Yarsiah, comes to us from Liberia, West Africa. Jay grew to manhood amidst a 14-year civil war and genocide. By any conventional wisdom, the atrocities he witnessed might well have justified a life dedicated to violent retribution. Yet Jay chose a different path, dedicating his life instead to the cause of human rights in his troubled nation and in Africa as a whole. Delphian exists to empower young adults as agents of positive change through reason, creativity, and integrity. We have found a kindred spirit in Jay, a voice for hope, responsibility, and redemption in a world that can and will only endure through such qualities. Please welcome today's commencement speaker, Jay Yarsiah.
Good morning. Let's try that again. Good morning. Good, good. Don't worry about that side story you just heard. Class of 2017, students and families, alumni, Delphi faculty, and headmaster, alt. I try. I've known very few honors than to address some of the best students I know from the best education program that exists on this glorious morning. I bring you greetings from Liberia. It's in West Africa. I bring you greetings from my family. I have many families. I also bring you greetings from the many young people who survived the conflict and are trying to rebuild their lives. I am a Liberian. I grew up in Liberia. Liberia is a country founded by free slaves. Free slaves went back to Liberia in the 1800s. And when they went, they met locals, right? Together they tried to form a country. But because the slaves have been used to that treatment, when they went back, they treated the locals as slaves. So for 100 years, the people were subjugated. So imagine being slaves to being slave masters. Sadly, that happened over 100 years. Liberia independence was 1847. Liberia is modeled after the United States. Our flag is almost like the US, same number of stripes, same color. We just have one star. The Pledge of Liberia says, I pledge allegiance to the flag of Liberia and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Imagine that. Our Constitution was written by a former professor from Harvard. So you can tell the idea that the slaves wanted to remodel a country after what they had been used to. Sadly, in 1989, December, civil war plunged Liberia. Political differences, corruption, human rights abuses. I was 9 years old when the conflict started. Every time I see young people go to school in different countries I visit, I'm always reminded of what it felt like to be a regular young kid. Sadly, that was stripped away from me. Liberia civil war was very political and very religious as well. And because of that, over hundreds of thousands of people were killed. It's an experience that I lived with for 23 years. You see, most of the atrocities were committed by young people, children. We refer to them as child soldiers, right? You remember the name? So it's interesting to see what children are capable of, how they can be used for productive means, and how they can also be used for destruction. And these were not TV versions from Hollywood. These were very real human rights, outrageous abuses. Too creatively sickening and too disturbing to even make your 8 o'clock news. When the war hit, the first thing that happened is that you run out of food. Your short supply, everything in your fridge is done. You can't go out. Then the next thing that happened is that the rebels actually enter your neighborhood. There's gunfire, there's rocket-propelled grenades. We call them RPGs. Those fly at night, mainly. And there's a certain whistle that you hear in the night. When the rocket is flying, it's very quiet. You hear the whistle, and then it drops. And then you hear the cry. These rocket-propelled grenades did not discriminate by age, education, or social worth as they erase from the ranks of the living, many who I personally know. This new normal became a nightly nightmare. This new reality is something I had to learn to get adjusted to. Are you still with me? Yes. Good, good. I have good news. It's in the end, okay? But still, there was hope. Through the long months of terror, I still trusted that someday there'll be a ceasefire. Before my 10th birthday, before my 11th birthday, before my 12th birthday, every night as a family, we would pray together and hope that someone will come to our rescue. Every morning, we will realize that that never happened, or it wasn't going to happen. The fighting continued. This better day, during the conflict, you were sitting there thinking, okay, one day this all will stop. I'll go back to school. I'll get a degree. It just doesn't happen. You're 9th before you realize you're 15, before you realize you're 20. Imagine that. In a strange way, I had to learn how to adapt. You see, no one really promised there will be a tomorrow. No one guaranteed any of us here there will be a tomorrow. So I had to learn how to lose faith in tomorrow. In a very strange way. Just realized it wasn't coming. I had to choose to stop feeling sorry for myself, to adapt, to live a life, to tell myself I was going to live. I had to tell myself I was no longer a child. The world changes a boy to a man in seconds. To find food now, you had to go to the forest to get food. I remember there were days there was no food. We had to eat pepper from the tree, raw pepper. At night, for security, we will get together and form vigilante groups. My brother and I will patrol at night, Tuesdays and Saturdays. And we had a whistle. If I see a strange person I don't recognize, when I'm on patrol, I will blow a whistle. If the person doesn't respond, it means that person is not part of the team, should not be out that night. Then I would signal another whistle. And that second one is to call my other guys who are on patrol that I have an intruder. You started with learning, learning how to adapt. I told myself if I survived the war, if I just survived the war, I would somehow survive the peace or make sense of it. You see, everything happened to all of us for a reason. It's what we do with our experiences that define who we are. You probably agree I didn't have a normal childhood, right? I didn't go to movies at night, no sleepovers. Hey, I didn't even crash no Sweet 16 parties. There were times I felt bitter about my experiences. I did not ask for war. I did not deserve to suffer. I was a child. When there were no gun firing at night, I would sit outside and stare at the sky and contemplate, would I ever become someone useful? You know, as a kid, you all have dreams, right? Yeah. I would sit at night and think, would I ever go to school? Would I ever graduate? Would I become someone useful? There were times I even said to myself, maybe I should join the rebels. Why suffer? Because, I mean, if you see kids with guns, they have power. They could do anything. When I was born, my name wasn't Joseph. My name was Sekou, S-E-K-O-U. Sekou belonged to a Mandingo Muslim tribe in my country. And that tribe was being persecuted during the Civil War. In 1990, as my family crossed into neighboring Sierra Leone, you know Sierra Leone, blood diamonds, that country. It's on the west of Liberia. So my family, I had to walk across the border. At the border, there's a military checkpoint. It's like immigration checkpoint when you come into the U.S. There are no air conditioning, sorry. It's like you're on the path, and there is a checkpoint. A checkpoint is mainly bricks, stick, cross. There's a guy sitting there who's a general, other guys with guns. And you have to take a test. Usually they'll ask you for your name, what tribe you come from, what is your religion, where you worked before, just trying to make sure you are who you are. And then there's one guy who determined whether you live or die. And that person in 1990 was a 14-year-old general. Now, if you're a 14-year-old general, what does that mean? Let's break that down, okay? Please don't be sad. Just hang with me, okay? You earn ranks in the military during the Civil War. You earn ranks based on two things. How many people you can kill and how fast you can kill them. That's how you earn ranks. So a rebel leader can determine and say, look, if I want to take over San Francisco, I will send Mark. Mark can do it, right? That's how it works, and that's how you earn your rank. So to see a 14-year-old general, that was no longer a kid. That's one thing we learned. I wasn't a kid anymore. This 14-year-old general was asking questions. My dad remembered while we were on one line that my name is Sekou. Well, my name is still Sekou. Well, you see, my dad would name his children after African presidents and radicals, I call them. So my sister is named Winnie Madikizela after Winnie Mandela. You still with me? Good. My twin brother is named Stephen Biko after the South African activist. Me? I don't know if it was a punishment or something. He named me Mabutu Sese Sekou after an East African president. But to a 14-year-old general, that means nothing. You're just a Muslim kid. So a few minutes before our time, my dad is standing there, and he's kicking me in the back. Change your name, change your name. Now, think about this. 9 to 10 years old, change your name, we gotta have a conversation. We gotta chat. You gotta tell me why. Then you gotta tell me what kind of name you want. Then I might need time to think about it. Sadly, we didn't have that time. And I remember Joseph from Sunday school. And that's why my name is Joseph today. When we crossed the border, which is another story, my dad asked me if I wanted to change my name back. And I said no. You see, Sekou never crossed that border. Joseph reminds me of what war can do to you. Are we good? Yeah. Good, sorry. I had to slide that one in. I'm off script. Finally, the war ended in 2003. 14 years. I was 9 when it started, 23 years old now. The United Nations sent hundreds of troops to Liberia, 15,000 military troops to maintain some sort of order. Here I was, without purpose, without any life skills, convinced I was a victim. Nobody could change my mind. Without the constant threat to my life, I begin to wonder, what do I do now? Because when you get used to war and it's gone, what do you do with peace? There's stability. What does that mean? How do you make sense of it? What am I supposed to do? I'm used to being on the run. Trust me, surviving the peace is even sometimes harder than surviving the war. The hardest thing I've ever done in my life was to change my mind. I realized that there was actually no distinction between those who perpetrate the violence and those who the victimize. I'll say that again. I realized that there is no real distinction between those who actually perpetrate violence and those who the victimize. No one is born wicked. No one is born a rebel. I could have easily become a perpetrator of these acts that I described. Easily. You see a 14-year-old boy, he wasn't born like that, with a gun, right? Something happened somewhere. So it's just not convenient to look at an action and just interpret it without trying to pay attention to what caused it. We see this everywhere in our lives. Are you still with me? Yes. Good. I keep checking with you. You see, once I changed the way I look at it, retribution for what had been done to me seemed useless at this point, right? It's no use anymore. I was blessed to have families and parents and other families that survived the war. And the idea was to go back to school. I was also blessed to meet one of Liberia's finest human rights hero. His name is Samuel Kofi Woods, who helped me get a job. I was working at a resource center with internet. Now, I'm not talking about your internet. Okay? I'm talking about internet where you can pull www.delphian.com. Go make coffee, make up your bed, clean your back room, come back, the screen is halfway. Okay. Okay. You got that, right? I remember when I first came to the States and stayed with someone who I'll mention later on. He put me in his room, gave me a laptop, connected me to the internet. I just typed something and the screen popped, like, whoa. So I said, well, maybe it's a default page, I'll try something else. And I tried something else and it popped, CNN, pop, like, whoa. So it was too fast. So I had to close the laptop. I had to think about this, like, this is real, right? So I would take a notebook and write all the websites I want to visit down. So I worked at an internet resource center and had internet access, and I started finding programs to improve myself. I remember one of the programs I did was an online course from Barnes & Nobles. I didn't even know what that was until one day in New York. I was walking my first trip. It's like Barnes & Nobles. I know this name. Where is it from? I also Googled anything on human rights, and that's where I found Youth for Human Rights International online. I also understand that there are Youth for Human Rights chapter here at the school. If you are from that chapter, will you please stand? All members of the Youth for Human Rights chapter, please stand. Good, 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 good. You my people, stand. What you guys do is amazing. You keep doing what you do, okay? In July 2015, the south part is almost over, okay? I promise. Youth for Human Rights was holding a regional conference in Ghana. Ghana is 2 countries away from Liberia. Liberia, Côte d'Ivoire, that's in French. In English, is Ivory Coast. And then there's Ghana. So Kofi Woods helped me get a plane ticket. I went to Ghana. At that point in time, Africa was just a continent of workshops and trainings. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go to Ghana, eat some food, take some pictures, fly on an airplane, go back home. I met a human rights lawyer named Tim Bowles. Tim, will you please stand for a second? He picked me up from the airport. I kid you not, I weighed 90 pounds. Yep. Well, thanks to McDonald's, I don't look like that anymore. We spent the next few days in Ghana talking, and you can see the rest is still unfolding. Together we created, with other leaders as well, we created what we call the African Human Rights Literacy Campaign. And what that is was taking a group of young people, most of them ex-combatants, working them in groups, and then introducing them to a later age technology. And we designed a program that actually empowered them so they can go out and teach other young people about the importance of human rights. Because you see, that was the underlying effect of the Civil War. Okay? I went back to school, finished my undergraduate degree at a university in Liberia, and then traveled to the US, and also studied at George Mason University, where I got my master's in international conflict analysis and resolution. I've come to know Mr. Herbert's work and his remarkable contribution to humanity. Delphian has been using Mr. Herbert's philosophy since its founding. My discovery of this technology has opened new doors I never thought was possible, even in a faraway country like Liberia. You see, with his technology, we don't just hold the keys to making lives better. We do hold the keys to saving lives everywhere around the world. And so in 2014, we teamed up with Applied Scholastics to confront the missing vital ingredient of education. Education is vital for Liberia, for Africa, for the world's survival. We need to make human rights to education, real education, one of literacy and competence. We need to make it a fact, not an idealistic dream. A few years ago, Liberians were lacking an unspeakable, brutal war. Right now, we're getting close to establishing an Applied Scholastic Center in Liberia. Do you know what the reward for a good job is? More work, right? You get that right. So you see, we face huge challenges. Our success necessitates reaching a vast majority of the youth in a country of over 4 million people, half illiterate. Yet I promised myself if I survive the war, there was the peace now, right? I had to make sense of it. I'm here today to thank you. Albert Einstein once observed that we cannot solve the problems we face using the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. I'll say that again. Albert Einstein once observed, we cannot solve the significant problems we face with the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. First, this is a big statement, right? So let's break it down a little bit. You still with me? Yeah. Okay. First, it suggests that there might be such a thing as a higher more effective level of thinking. Second, it poses that we have created this problem, and so we are responsible for overcoming today's social ills by our most powerful weapons. What are those? Intelligence, innovation, and above all, the courage to apply these for the good of all. I've come to Delphi to thank all of you. First, I want to thank the founders and staff for your vision and your persistence. All staff, will you please stand? I've also come to thank the families of students for your dedication and sacrifices sometimes necessary to push these young people through the most rigorous program on the planet. Will you please stand and be recognized? Above all, I've come to thank you, our graduates. You have accomplished something quite unique and quite impossible. I told them a few minutes ago, I've never been intimidated by high schoolers before. You apply your intelligence, your creativity, and your courage to persevere through the most rigorous program. I know quite a bit about your school and your program. As you may know, my mentor, Tim Bowles, and my American Jewish mom, Rhoda, helped establish the Delphian School, with Rhoda serving as staff for over 30 years. Whitney, my sister, is also here. She's a graduate of the program. Don't be shy, Whitney. Hi. Last year, your own graduate, Zane Toffer, and his father Colin traveled to Liberia to work with us to help establish the first phase of our Applied Scholastics African Literacy pilot. Zane, will you please stand? You see, I sat back and watched Zane, an American high schooler, introduce applied scholastics study technology to university students and graduates in Liberia. That frankly impressed me. What kind of program could possibly produce a leader like this young man, way beyond his years? To all of you, never keep silent, ever. Best advice. Thank you, Zane. Now, having been on campus for several days and knowing the graduating class, this is the program that is going to change the world. You graduates and I share something important. Not you guys, these guys. You also have to know that no one is coming to your rescue. You are the ones who are going to do the rescuing. You're going to rescue others and a civilization before it consumes itself, either by fire, ice, or indifference, swearing by the status quo level of thinking that Einstein warned. I'll tell you a quick story. It's for you guys. A story is told about a wise man. Can you hear me? Yeah. Good. This guy could tell anything. He could, like a fortune teller, right? And there was a boy who, his motives are yet unknown, but he said to himself, this guy is not really wise. It's some kind of trick. So he plotted out to expose this man. And so he came up with a plan. And the plan was he would take a bird, like an object. The game is actually, you put stuff in your hand, you crush your hand in your back. You say, which hand am I holding this stuff? You know the game, right? So he came up with this game. But he added a little twist to it. And he said, I'm going to put a living bird in my left hand and cross it and close my hand and cross my hands behind my back. And I'm going to ask the wise man and say, which hand am I holding the living bird? Which hand am I holding the living bird? And if the wise man said the right hand, hey, it's not wise. If he said the left hand, the boy plan was to squeeze the bird so hard until it dies, and then open his hand and tell the wise man, it's a dead bird. I said, living bird. Hey, stop fooling people. You're not that wise. That was his plan. So when his time came up, he appeared before the wise man. And he presented his proposition and said, which hand am I holding the living bird? And the wise man stared at him for a long time, looked him in the eye, could almost see the treachery. And the wise man said this to the boy. He said, son, it does not matter which hand the bird's in. What really, really matters is that the life of that bird is in your hands. You see, freedom means the power and the ability to choose. Your graduation signifies that you are equipped with such freedom. You are neither innocent, nor are you neutral in the world that you live. Conceivably, you could choose to be catalyst for destruction, segregation. Conceivably, you could opt to be animators for social change and human decency. From our perspective, you choose to do the only one true thing worth living for. Please choose to help. Never lose sight of the responsibility that comes with knowledge. And never, ever underestimate your ability to impact the lives of others. Dr. King once said, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. You are fortunate people. You face a world fighting to survive against seemingly impossible odds. You know that there's so much work to be done. Will you please stand? So let it be said that the graduating class of 2017 Delphian School left the hilltop, this hilltop, not merely determined to someday reach some pinnacle of leadership, invention, and inspiration in some generation to come. But let it be said that you embrace it with such awesome responsibility, now and for always. Ladies and gentlemen, your graduating class. Thank you.
like to introduce our first graduate. Our first graduate today combined significant contributions to the school and community with some of the best academic work we've seen. Heading to Cornell this fall, graduating with honors, Philip Viana.
Thank you. As the first graduate today, I've been asked to speak on behalf of the class of 2017 and deliver some important acknowledgments. So, from all of us, thank you, faculty and staff, for your selfless dedication that makes this wonderful education possible. We would like to thank Mr. Hubbard, whose educational tools and principles have illuminated our path. Thank you to our family and friends. Your love and support has anchored us through all of our challenges here. Lastly, we want to thank all of you who are here with us to share this special day. It means a lot to us. For me, the Delphian program was more than just the knowledge and tools that I gained on it. I had the opportunity to apply myself. The practical program gave me the opportunity to succeed, to fail, and then to succeed again. I learned to work hard, and I became confident in my own abilities. In fact, the thing I can pinpoint as most valuable that I gained on the Delphian program was a certainty in my own ability. I'm confident that my Delphian education has given me the tools to pursue my dreams and make them a reality. I've learned how to learn, how to lead, and how to live a productive, ethical, and fulfilling life. Thank you.
Having developed a love of the arts and a passion for writing while here, this next graduate takes her warmth and thoughtfulness to Boston University. Penda Osborne.
Delphi is such an amazing community. When I first arrived, I wasn't sure what to expect. I've learned over the years that this community is something special. Everyone here, staff, students, and alumni, care about the well-being of one another. People here want to help others to achieve their goals, whether that means a teacher checks a student's essays late at night, or a friend helps you understand a math problem. I came here as an only child, but I am leaving with many brothers, sisters, and multiple parental figures. When I was little, the film Lilo and Stitch was popular. In the film, the character Lilo famously says something that I think sums up Delphi. Ohana means family, but family means that nobody gets left behind or forgotten. No matter where you go in the world, the Delphian community is always there for you. Thank you.
Our second honors diploma this afternoon goes to a young woman who has demonstrated the ability to draw a straight line, from idea to accomplishment. We look forward to watching her continue to do so. Nicole Miller.
Thank you. When I was 10 years old, I walked into the library and I picked up a book. This book was about characters who had magic, characters who were graceful, powerful, and unstoppable. I loved that book. Ever since then, I have been drawn to books about magic and warriors who could do things that others couldn't. The books with characters who refused to limit themselves. That's what I've learned here, to never limit myself. I learned that I could be like the warriors in those books. I came here a scared child who lived in the shadows, but now I no longer tell myself that I can't do something, because that's not true. I have learned to always challenge myself and to never accept things as they are. It's as Walt Disney said, "The sky has never been the limit. We are our own limit. It's then about breaking our personal limits and outgrowing ourselves to live our best lives." Thank you.
We've enjoyed watching this brilliant young man grow up with us. He takes a spirited and creative mind to Rose Holman Institute of Technology this coming fall. Jason Chen.
Thank you. During my years at Delphi, I have gathered plenty of knowledge, various skills, and a deeper understanding of myself. However, my most important gain isn't any of these, but rather the capacity of love. Although many saw me as an optimistic person, I was troubled by a sense of worry. I knew well that I lacked love and passion, especially for other people around me. I had few friends, and I wasn't sure if I really loved my family. But that changed during my years here at Delphi. In a communication course that you learn on Form 6, I learned of the key of all human interactions, which is the interrelationship of affinity, reality, and communication. My subsequent application of this new information opened up new possibilities and new experiences in my life. I discovered that genuine and personal communication were key and crucial in building human relationships. And with this discovery, I came into possession of the capacity of love. Now I can say with certainty that I love and care about the people in my life around me. Recently, I came up with a theory that love is the source of all voluntary actions. I intend to live with this as the creed of my entire life. Thank you, Delphi, for this amazing realization. Thank you.
To many of us, the intricacies of coding are as mysterious as poetry. To our next graduate, a computer programming poet, they are simply part of his makeup. Yu Hung.
This has been a tough journey for me, but it has prepared me well for tougher journeys ahead. Delphi not only helped me build on my strengths, but it helped me know my weaknesses, so I can improve on them as well. The late Mormon leader Joseph B. Worthland said, "The more often we see the things around us, even the beautiful and wonderful things, the more they become invisible to us." That is why we often take for granted the beauty of this world. The flowers, the trees, the birds, the clouds, even those we love. When I first came to Delphi, I took almost everything for granted. The clean building, the clean bathrooms, the food, the activities, and field trips, all planned out. I never really thought about how each thing came to be. Not until I started doing them myself. I started cleaning the building, cleaning the bathroom, preparing the food, and I was like, wow, I had to work. And I learned that everything we have in our lives, like everything we see here right now, has been planned, organized, and created by someone through hard work. I no longer take these things for granted. I want to thank the school, the staff, the whole Delphi community for challenging me and helping me appreciate all the precious things in my life. Thank you.
Whether sculpting, playing sports, or helping others, this next graduate has always brought a quiet intensity and integrity to everything he does. Zane Toffer.
Thank you. Delphi is something else. It's more than a school. I came here at 13 years old, and I thought I knew what to expect. Turns out, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I'd gotten myself into what I now consider to be the best school in the world. It brought out things I didn't know I had inside myself. I found out what it meant to be competent. I found out what it meant to really know something. I found out what it meant to be part of a group, to be a team member, to be a leader, and to help people. Delphi, a place to grow and a place to know. The place to be when you want to see what you can truly do and what makes you you. To my friends up here with me, never doubt yourselves and never forget the times we had here at Delphi, our second home. Thank you.
Having discovered a passion for the culinary arts and headed for the Institute of Culinary Education in New York, we hope our next graduate returns soon and often. This diploma goes to Allison Voss.
Among everything I gained here at Delphi, the most important was my ability to face and overcome challenges. Whether the challenge was a difficult person that I could not talk to, or a difficult course, or a complicated task, or a job that I considered to be really unpleasant. It's silly to describe it this way, but it makes the most sense. I would get to a point where I was doing really well on something, and life was going great, and I thought that nothing could get me down. But then the next challenge would arise, and I thought it was the end of the world, and that I would never get through it. But one way or another, I would tackle it, and life would be great again. Then the next challenge would hit, and you get the idea. Gradually, I realized that I was more confident in my abilities to tackle challenging studies or real-life situations. That's when I realized the magic of the Delphian program. It wasn't that I would never face challenges. It was that I had gained the ability to overcome all challenges that came up in life. Thank you.
Don't let the gentle nature of this next graduate fool you. Her strength of character and aesthetic integrity will carry her far, we're sure. Michelle Gong.
Thank you. My adventures here have been many and varied, like a gallery of beautiful oil paintings. From student services to student outreach, from organizing last year's prom to singing with the jazz choir, my leadership, responsibility, ethics, all have been challenged again and again, enabling me to achieve things I had only dreamed of before. But I want to highlight one aspect of my adventures, that is traveling the path of great literature. With Socrates, I contemplated the meaning of death and the purpose of life. In France, I studied satire and its power for change with Voltaire. I returned to America with Tocqueville to study the young country's social system. Then it was off to Russia with Boris Pasternak to experience the Russian revolutions, and so much more in the novel Dr. Zhivago. During these travels, I encountered people with different religious beliefs and different pursuits of life. And after reading and composing poems with John Donne, I ended my adventure above the ocean waves
with a seagull named Jonathan Livingston as I watched him spreading his wings and penetrating the clouds, flying higher and higher into the vast blue. I saw that life has no limits, and I'm a free individual with endless potential. And now, when I have something in my mind that I want to achieve, I know how to make it happen. I know where and how to lay my brush on this canvas to paint even more beautiful paintings, paintings of my very own. Thank you.
With us since middle school, this charismatic and spirited young man will be missed by all. We know he will bring optimism and joy wherever his life takes him. Kenny Moline.
Thank you. When I arrived 8 years ago, my fundamentals were all out of place. I wasn't able to write, I could barely read, and I couldn't even communicate correctly. In the schools I had gone to before, I'd always felt like I was fighting an uphill battle that I couldn't win. I was always falling farther and farther behind. By the time I enrolled here, I was already 4 years behind in reading. But as I worked my way through the program, step by step, form by form, I was not only able to read, write, and communicate at higher and higher levels, I was demonstrating actual leadership, developing integrity, and here's the big thing, I was getting things done. I could say so much about the school, the program, my experiences here, but the main thing I gained was just that. As long as it took me, I can finally say I can get things done. Lastly, I want to borrow from the final lines of the poem Invictus that has inspired many since written in 1875 by William Ernest Henley. It not matters how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Thank you.
This next graduate's academic work was often inspired and was always done with her unique integrity intact. She begins her further studies at Occidental College this fall. Index U.
I am able to accomplish anything I want. That thought has been with me since I was little. The problem was that I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't have a goal. I just did what I was supposed to do. As I grew and learned, I tried to narrow down my interests so I could plan my future and set a goal. But I was never ready to give up any of my interests. When I had to decide between math and law for my college major, I thought my indecision meant that I was interested in both but not passionate about either. I became agitated, troubled, and lost in my thoughts. I finally chose math because I was good at it and I enjoyed studying it. But then, just a few weeks ago, at the end of my final course on Form A, I selected a research and essay assignment concerning the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. During that assignment, I realized that I definitely loved law as a subject and that my understanding in the field did not spring from my intelligence or my reasoning, but from my passion. There I was at the end of my high school career, realizing that I wasn't a person without passion, but a person quietly filled with passion. In fact, many passions. Now I'm no longer agitated or troubled, but excited about taking on new opportunities and challenges. I still feel that childlike optimism in myself and my future, but now I realize it's not that I don't know what I want, but that I'm passionate about any one thing, but that I wanted so many things. That I'm passionate about so many things that this is a gift, not a burden. Thank you.
A passionate humanitarian and athlete, our next graduate is headed to Indiana University, Kelley Business School. Pranav Kawatra.
Thank you. Sorry. I've never really pushed myself beyond what was required of me. I procrastinated and I put little to no effort in the things that I did. I thought that that was enough. I thought that I was okay with being the bare minimum. I thought I never really failed though. But I never really succeeded. I hated this limbo that I was in, and this didn't really change when I came to Delphi. I kept the same routine where I didn't put much effort into what I did, and I was the same, not applying myself. This last year I was pushed though. I was forced to take control of my own education and push myself past what I thought I could do. I'm very grateful for this because I know my own capabilities now. I would like to end my speech with a quote that has stuck with me for the past 2 years. Let others lead small lives, but not you. Let others cry over small hurts, but not you. Let others cry over small things, but not you. Let others leave your future in someone else's hands, but not you. I'm glad that Delphi has given me the ability to take my own future into my own hands. Thank you.
The last of 4 siblings to attend our school, this next graduate will always be remembered for his fun-loving and generous nature. Michael Clarizio.
Good afternoon. So everyone's basically said what I wanted to say, so I'm going to tell you some stuff that I just thought of while I was listening to everybody. I hope I communicate this from my heart to yours because it's really coming from there. If you were to ask me where my favorite place on earth was, I'd say 20950 Southwest Rock Creek Road, Sheridan, Oregon. And not everyone can say that. Not every graduate from every school can ever say, my favorite place on earth was high school. And it's really that. I don't want you to take it with a grain of salt. Because Delphi it's not just a school like my fellow graduates have said. It's home, it's hope, it's everything. It's the future, it's rehabilitation of this planet. And I will forever, always be grateful. I want to thank the staff, I want to thank my family, I want to thank everyone. And most importantly, I don't want to end off with a quote, but words of wisdom. Please look at the person to your left, everybody. Thank you. Now look at the person to your right. Thank you. Now look at me. Thank you. That's called intention. And it is the strongest driving force. Whether you might think it's love, you might think it's fear, you might think it's anything else, but it is intention which make things happen, and it comes from you. There is not one more person, there's not a person to your left or right that is more competent than you. There's not a person to your left or right that is less competent than you. It is just their willingness to demonstrate their competence. And anybody can do anything, but only you can be you. Thank you.
This capable young woman seems to have a knack for showing up whenever she is needed and quietly saving the day. Planning a career in education, she is headed to Rutgers after a gap year, graduating with honors. Lila Wells.
Thank you. Every person who starts the Delphi program has their own strengths and their own weaknesses. But whatever abilities they start with, every person finds themselves pushed and pulled in a billion different directions until they have abilities they never dreamed of. If you're like me, you might start off the program shy and not confident of what you're capable of. As I went through the program, however, I found myself in positions that forced me out of this shell, and I realized I had become a confident and competent person. Delphi doesn't magically give students these incredible abilities to be capable, though, but it lets you discover for yourself what you're not good at, and then it puts you in situations that makes you practice those abilities. It gave me the key to unlock the best parts of myself that I had hidden away, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
This next graduate will take his passion for sports and photography to the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, California, this coming fall. Alex Chang.
Delphi was like a journey in a boat on the ocean. I started out not knowing where I wanted to go and not knowing what I wanted to do. The tools that Delphi provided me with helped me steer the boat and helped me find a destination for my journey. As I continued my journey, there were obstacles I had to overcome. Just like the ocean, there were waves that I had to sail past, and with each wave that I sailed past, I became more confident in myself. There were storms that made me lose my bearings, but Delphi provided guides that steered me back on the right path. There were winds that pushed me back when I was trying to move forward, but there were always people to help support me and to push me forward. Now I have reached my destination, gaining the experience and skills that will help me with my next journey. I would like to thank everyone who has helped me reach this destination and supported me throughout my past 9 years here. Thank you.
As a national award-winning artist in 2 different mediums, this next graduate has set the bar high for himself. We expect great things. Caden Morphopoulos.
Thank you. There are some people who compare themselves to others. They wonder why this other person is thriving at something in his ability to do, and the person wonders why he will never be able to accomplish this thing himself. This was me before Delphi, and by moving through the Delphi program, I realized that this habit was holding me back from succeeding. I realized, since coming here, that one should never compare oneself to others, because everyone is unique. Everyone has their own strengths and their own weaknesses. Everyone has their own goals and aspirations, and everyone has their own fears, which at some point will bring you to a point in your life when you have to decide whether you will confront those fears or walk away. Delphi has taught me to confront those fears and to take control of my own life, which is unique to everyone else's. You are your own person, and only you can determine the course of your own life. Delphi taught me how, and for that, I'll always be grateful. Thank you.
Planning a career in the humanities, this next graduate approaches everything he does with a bright smile and engaging nature. We will miss him, but we know he has a bright future. Sean Svetkovich.
Thank you. By the time I started 5th grade, I no longer enjoyed school. I had been to 5 different schools in 3 different countries. I had already failed in France, and I was about to fail in Taiwan. I got the smartest guy in class to do my homework in exchange for food. My life as a dishonest student had begun. Arriving here, I continued to look for ways to be sneaky and take shortcuts. each time I got caught. I would tell myself to be even more sly the next time. Eventually, I saw that what I was doing was absolutely meaningless. I had been caught again for serious dishonesties in my studies. I spoke with one of many faculty members who cared about me and refused to give up on me. After I told her what I had done, which was extremely difficult, she said, "You know, Sean, no matter what you do, we will continue to love you and support you." The moment she said that, I finally decided to end all my shenanigans for good. It's been a tough road for me, as you can see, but I have finally achieved an honest education, and I'm proud of the person I am today. And the knowledge is now mine. Delphi is my second home. It is the most wonderful and beautiful place on earth. Any student who has the chance to attend this school should jump at that chance. Trust me, it is worth it. Thank you.
Whether it's community work, student council, leadership, captaining the cheer team, or creating fine art, this graduate has excelled in a wide range of fields. Graduating with honors, Maxine Anderson.
Thank you. Constantly throughout my time here, I felt afraid of things. Eventually, I would face those fears, and I would feel happier and more alive than I ever felt before, I ever thought I could feel. And I'd say to myself, why was I ever afraid? I won't be next time. I'll never be afraid again. Every time I overcame some fear or challenge, new ones quickly arose. One day, towards the end of this program, I realized that this cycle of fear, perseverance, and success was really the most brilliant thing in my life. Each time I pushed through my fears and barriers, I cared more, and I was in turn able to control more. As part of my Delphian experience, I've had the opportunity to interact with a wide range of people, whether on projects, apprenticeships, or service activities. And I've been fortunate to meet some brilliant and truly competent people. I now understand that they too have their own dreams and fears, and that I cannot accomplish my goals without helping others get over their fears and accomplish their goals alongside me. So instead of shying away from my fears, I stand side by side with them. A silly paradox, sort of. But it's not. For my fears and challenges are wonderful. They're the most obvious steps towards my unrealized dreams. Thank you.
A talented, creative, and skilled musician and composer, this young pianist will go far. Alex Lipson.
Creating music has always been my passion, but this last year I sought a deeper understanding of my motivation, my purpose. As part of my practical program, I had the opportunity to arrange for choir and orchestra a song that I loved when I was 11. The happiness that song created me then allowed me to successfully direct an entire orchestra and choir today in its performance. But I realized my purpose was not to be a musician, but to create as an artist works that make people as happy as possible for as long as possible. And maybe that sounds simplistic or naive, and maybe it is, but it's true for me. I look forward to creating music, and through that music, creating happiness in others. I also look forward to watching my fellow graduates, through their works, create happiness in the world, because they've been empowered here in their own individual ways to make a difference in the world. Thank you.
We consider the Academy of Art University in San Francisco to be the lucky winner to have landed this next graduate, a fine artist, designer, and seamstress. This diploma is for Natalia Garcia.
Thank you. Deciding to study here was the best decision I have ever made in my life. I have had the best moments here, and I will forever treasure them. Back home, I was aimless. People and their opinions influenced me, regardless whether they were good or bad. I was unaware of the power of education. I didn't care for my education. And most importantly, I was unaware of my own potential. I thought my life was long ago traced out and that I wasn't able to control any of my destiny. After spending a summer at Delphi here, a previously darkened path in my education lightened up. I took it as a sign and decided to come for the school year. I learned about communication, leadership, planning, and organizing. I discovered that I could make things go right, that I could influence others, and I finally learned that I was able to control my life. I acquired the knowledge necessary to become a reason-driven individual, and that aimless girl is now a distant memory. The changes I underwent were gradual and beautiful. I'm now a powerful young woman who's able to think and influence others in order to make the world a better place. Thank you.
We couldn't be more proud of this next graduate, a young man who is simultaneously deep thinking and just plain fun to be around. This goes to Faisal Al-Kathiri.
Thank you. Here, I found the real me and forged goals for my own future. Of the many aspects of the Delphi program, the practical side fascinated me the most. Before enrolling here, I had attended 5 different schools, and not a single one of them had a practical aspect to the learning. The projects, apprenticeships, and positions of responsibility here required me to use the information from the courses I had done. I was able to apply the data and see for myself the results. All of this also developed a sense of responsibility in me. I learned how to be the one to organize, execute, and clean up. Through my journey, through all the ups and downs, all the challenges and difficulties, I've learned that confront leads to the solution of problems, especially when backed up by useful knowledge. I have much to learn, but I'm ready to move on, to seek what's good for me and for others, using the tools I've gained here. I'm proud that I made the choice to come to the Delphian. I'm proud to have acquired integrity, leadership, knowledge, and ethics. And I'm proud to be the first Saudi Arabian to graduate from the Delphian School. Thank you.
Whether she's shooting photos, playing volleyball, or trying her hand at something completely new, this young lady brings an energy that ensures she will carry the day. Vivi Liu.
Unlike many people, I was never told that I was smart. I was not even average. I was below average. Before Delphi, I was preparing for my entrance exam for high school in Taiwan. It was the most hard-working process that I've ever had to go through, but it was the most unrewarding process ever. Tutors at night, classes on the weekends, but good results were nowhere to be seen. Mid-year, every student received a lucky charm from their parents. Looks like this. And on the front, they say, to be the top. I laughed. On the back, my mom drew a steep hill, and on the top there's a flag, and there's a turtle in the middle, and that was me. Well, it took me many hours to recover my emotions because I thought I was going through the dark process on my own, but looking at the picture, I realized that there has always been a shadow behind me, a shadow that understands me better than anyone else, silently showing me what love and support truly means. After my exam, my dignity completely destroyed, I climbed up an actual hill, the Delphi Hill. From then on, everything became easier. But don't get me wrong, I struggled a lot. But it was easy because every struggle had a bright ending, which was more rewarding than you can ever imagine. Here, each of us is given our own performing stage, where we work with countless opportunities hidden in literature, student council, sports, and the art program. Opportunities to bring out our own best potentials and values. We live with faculties that we don't see as teachers, but as knowledgeable friends who are more than excited to see us thrive. We interact with ambitious students who cannot wait to help you build a brighter future. Compared to my earlier experience, it is an incredible phenomena that everyone here not only takes pride in their own achievement and growth, but in the achievement and growth of everyone else. Now, standing here, I'm gratified to say that I'm proud of who I've become, whether as a Delphian graduate, a turtle, or just simply myself. Thank you.
If we gave an award for the biggest smile, this graduate would have won it every year he was here. Accepted into the nation's first ever comedic arts program, started this fall by Emerson College. This next graduate is serious about making others smile too. This diploma goes to Vinayak Paul.
Thank you, everyone. An important concept I learned at Delphi is if one has big goals, they themselves have got to be big. I tried to do everything to the best of my ability. It didn't used to always be like that. There were times where I would never make that extra push to make myself a valuable person. That all changed throughout all the opportunities I've had in this school. Delphi helped me find the real Vinny. Throughout my life, part of my family was telling me, you have to be an engineer. My mom was there telling me, you have to be a doctor. I don't like needles. I really don't. And throughout this program, I realized I want to be a comedian. love making people laugh and smile. And I thought, wow, comedians are really good at that. The school also helped me realize that I don't want my whole career to revolve around comedy. I have a bigger purpose than that. I realized that's my duty to help. So I want to thank Delphi for helping me realize what my big goal is, the goal I have to be big enough to embrace, to help create a better and loving world. Thank you.
This next graduate shined on the stage, on the volleyball court, and in the classroom. Aspiring to a career in medicine, Ivy Ramos.
My story is about a little box and its destruction. My experience on the program and through all the courses has been invaluable, and everything has helped me so much, but it was more than that. I used to live in a little box. It kept me sheltered from things I imagined to be dangerous, but it also stopped me from reaching my potential. When others believed in me, I still stayed in my little box, not believing in myself. There was something about it that was comfortable and safe for a while. But gradually, I learned that I was so much more. I wanted to live and grow, and that meant that little box had to go, and the only person that could destroy it was me. I had developed the power to really change my own life, and that's what I did. So here I stand saying goodbye to that little box and hello to my future. Thank you, Delphi. Thank you.
As quick and precise in the classroom as he was on the basketball court, we know this graduate's drive and determination will take him far. Leo Wong.
You're a smart kid. If only you could be a little less lazy. Said everyone who knew me. This idea stuck with me, and I thought I was just lazy, and that's just the way I was. I had tried to fix the problem by working hard in sports and my academics, yet the problem still seemed to bother me. And then I just started to accept it. When faced with the task, I'll try was always my response, like it was a good enough answer to avoid responsibility if I didn't get it done. Finally, I realized that laziness wasn't my problem after all. What I lacked was the ability to generate interest and care and give importance to things that I might not be interested in, even when they deserve the care and interest. I learned to look at all the aspects in life and decide what is the right thing to do, and then take the harder step, do it. Here's my biggest win from being at Delphi. Doing well in the things that you like is good, but doing well in the things that you don't is great. There will be times where you have to deal with things that you don't really like or you don't really care about. Deal with it. Take on the challenge and get the most out of it. Thank you.
A lover of learning and a thoughtful and caring group member, this graduate squeezed every last drop out of his Delphian experience. Pursuing pre-med at Northeastern this coming fall, Alejandro Olmos.
Thank you. I walked into the school in September of 2010 with an integrity that was in pieces. I could not express my true viewpoints about any topic. Through the program, however, that changed. And looking back, I now know I have a sturdy foundation of that which at the beginning was broken. How this transformation happened is unclear, but I think it is best described by a passage from the book Dr. Zhivago. In winter, under the snow, the leafless branches of a wood are thin and poor, like the hairs of an old man's wart. But in only a few days, in spring, the forest is transformed. It reaches the clouds, and you can hide or lose yourself in its leafy maze. Whenever we look at it, the forest, it seems to be motionless. And such also is a immobility to our eyes of the eternally growing, ceaselessly changing history, the life of society moving invisibly in its incessant transformations. Delphi provided me with the best foundation I could have found anywhere. It is important, however, to recognize it for what it is, a foundation, a stepping stone into a world of further learning, expansion, and creation. And with that said, I'm ready to step into that world. Thank you.
Player of multiple musical instruments, singer, cross-country runner, member of local scout troop, leader of an award-winning human rights club, science seminar assistant instructor, student, philosopher, musician, scientist, independent spirit, watch out for this one, graduating with honors, headed to USC, Ria Shi.
Thank you. If my life was a poem, I always had a blank paper before me, but I had no idea what to do with it. Interested in anything I laid my eyes upon, I was like a child in a candy store. I was an aspiring scientist, a budding philosopher, a nationally ranked figure skater, a novice artist, an amateur musician, a wannabe poet, a language enthusiast, and a keen traveler. I was many people, but I was nobody. I lost myself to the lack of accomplishments. And I compared myself to others. Always, I thought, I was no Mozart, I was no Einstein, I was no child prodigy. I had no means of measuring my own value besides being stronger, faster, and better than others. I was always so jealous, and especially of the fun and the kindness and the love and the greatness I believed only others can achieve. In the 4 years at Delphi, all of that changed. The freedom and the care the education of Delphi offers me nourished me. The loving, caring, competent staff members helped me through my life in Delphi. From a nervous 14-year-old who did not have the courage to look people in the eye, I ventured far. I overcame many barriers, and I saw the immense possibility the world has to offer. Now, I see that I alone hold the power to create my own future. And I know that no matter what the circumstances might be, no matter what others do or have done before me, I will create my own path. Now, I am ready to write the verse of my life. Thank you.
This next graduate's constant smile and effervescent nature make it hard for us to say goodbye. She heads to USC this coming fall. Her quiet but broad contributions to the school will be missed as much as her smile. Joy Yi Lee.
Four years ago, when my parents drove me up to this hill. My mom said that you're going to spend the next 4 years here and take all the things from this beautiful environment to grow and expand. I took her words, but I thought the school was just a normal school, the same as other American high schools. I had a good time back home, but there was something missing. I didn't know how to think. I didn't know how to think. I didn't know how to speak up. I didn't know that I was capable of so much more. I came here to take control of my education when I wasn't pressed under endless quizzes, where I could start building my own thoughts on different things. I ended up in this magical forest in a school that offered way much more than expected. Through the literature program, leading a yearbook team, being a choir president, I've done things that I've never known before. They're all unrealistic to me. I got so much freedom from the program and trust from the school and faculty to do what I wanted to do and what I felt would make a difference in both me and community. Now I know that I can hold and speak up for my own opinions. I know that I'm capable and I can do things and do them right. I can probably say that this is a unique school that I can call my second home. I'm so glad that I came here and ready for the future. Thank you.
Known for his intelligent, thoughtful nature and his willingness to help, this next diploma goes to Stephen Jin.
Learning is an acquired taste, like my love for a cup of silky black coffee. I recall my first sip of a cup of black coffee. I couldn't say I hated it, but I certainly didn't like the taste of it. Lukewarm, bitter, and hard to swallow. But the aroma kept me coming back and taking another sip, and then another sip. Like coffee, Delphi gave off this captivating aroma and kept me to find out all about it. When I reached forward and tried to get a taste of Delphi, I was turned down by the bitter cultural shocks and the level of self-discipline that was demanded from me. Bitter was the first taste, but aroma lingered in my nostrils. I wonder why people love it so much. So I kept on drinking. Another sip and another sip. The flavor changed in my mouth. It slowly became less bitter as my taste buds built up its tolerance. This cup of coffee brought me warmth to my heart, vitality to my body, and a temptation for more to my mind. Before I realized it, it was gone. The cup has emptied out. All the while, the aroma stayed, and my heart beats with the love of knowledge. I guess it's time for me to find another cup of black, selfie coffee. Thank you.
Whether it's the spoken word, music, filmmaking, or poetry, this graduate has always shone especially bright in the arts. Samantha Fudens.
Every experience that I've had at Delphian has changed me to become a person that I am proud of. A person that I trust to choose the right decisions and to succeed in anything I want. My internship in New York City taught me what it means to be independent, to figure things out on my own. My student outreach project in Costa Rica, a developing country, showed me that a bunch of fancy things does not equate to happiness. The math check sheets taught me that I was not a student condemned to the non-comprehension of math, but that I just needed to know how to study it. My student council post taught me that being able to work with others is a more important skill than trying to prove to others that you can do something without their help. The religion course expanded on my ideas of mankind rather than just myself and my interpersonal groups. The literature program helped me form ideas about pressing problems from the past, as well as how to correct our mistakes for the future. And summer internship at Delphi showed me that I love children and the smiles that I see on their faces every day. But all of this put together, the program taught me that I am capable. It taught me that I am a 1 in a million individual with more than enough potential to succeed in anything that I choose. The program ingrained in me so much production every day to the point where it's hard for me to not be productive. I believe I can create my future to succeed in anything I want, and that is what Delphi has given me. Thank you.
A lover of the high-tech world, this graduate found an integrity all her own here. Mandy Ma.
Hi. Okay, this may sound ridiculous, but I thought of transferring for so many times when I was in Delphi. So there was, it's in my second year, and I want to transfer to another high school. I got everything ready. I got into the high school, and my parents paid for everything, paid for my high school counselor like $6,000. And I was like, no, I'm gonna stay here. Well, thank you my parents for supporting my choice. They're like, you're a big girl, and we respect your choice. The reason why that I want to transfer, because Delphi is special. It is so special that it's different from any other school I've attended to. And trust me, I've been to a lot of schools. And also, when I start to understand Delphi, I was wondering if I really fit here. It's so special, and I'm not the person that Delphi want. That's what I thought. But actually, Delphi fits everyone. It makes everyone unique, but have something in common as well. Integrity and the knowledge are written on their faces. Ethics and leadership are carved in their behavior. Delphi is wonderful. It changes people. Thank you, Delphi. You're the best school, and you're the most special school, and you're the best home to all the students. Thank you.
Determination, a thoughtful integrity, and leadership have marked this graduate's journey here. Our final diploma goes to J.J. Gonzalez.
My journey here has been a long one, from learning English in the middle school to Form 8 completion. Along the way, I learned about geography, from the Andes Mountains to the Great Lakes. I learned about science, from Newton's laws of motion to the makeup of cells. I learned about history, from the Enlightenment to the Industrial Revolution. I learned math, functions, and statistics. But most importantly, Delphi is where I learned how to tie a tie, how to shoot a basketball, how to ask a girl to prom. It's where I learned about manners, where I learned that dishonesty leads to unhappiness. It's where I learned how to organize and lead a group, where I learned the beauty of poetry and other art forms, where I learned about man's great religions. And it's where I learned about the importance and power of communication. Each of us has spent a big part of our lives here at this small school on a hill in Oregon. With experiences both similar and different, I suspect they're all unforgettable. I think I speak for all of us when I say the following. Thinking about saying goodbye to this wonderful place is bittersweet. Sort of like Steve's coffee. But we all know that it's time for our next chapter. And it requires saying goodbye. Commencement is the beginning, and everything we've worked for now will be put to the test. And though it's not a place to mention specific staff, there will be no more Grant to counsel us in the ethics office, no more Paula or Larry or any number of others to help us through our studies, no more Mark Siegel to tell us to shave or tuck in our shirts or to get our elbows off the dining room table. You get the idea. So as we end our experience here, on behalf of all of us here, I'd like to thank all of the Delphian staff and faculty, from the academic supervisors, instructors, coaches, to our dean and headmaster. And thank you to those who care for the building and grounds, to those who feed us every day, to the admission staff who helped enroll us and ultimately complete, to all the administrative staff and the curriculum staff who create the wonderful program and courses. You have all made something very special possible for all of us. And a special thank you to our families for allowing us to spend most of the last several years in this home away from home. And thank you to the entire student body and the Delphian family, which includes all of you here today. And lastly, thank you to Mr. Yarsiah for your wonderful words of inspiration. And thank you all for coming and sharing this day with us. Thank you.
Thank you, graduates, and thank you, JJ. The Delphian school bells are rung only once a year. That moment has come. Parents, families, and guests, are you ready to send forth these graduates? Yes. Okay, graduates, please stand. It is tradition at this point in time to move tassels from right to left, but this particular group cornered me just before this ceremony and demanded that what the tassels should signify is their intention to do right in life. And so they are moving them from left to right. Not yet. Almost. Graduates, signify your willingness to take on the responsibilities of this world by moving your tassels from left to right. I present to you the graduating class of 2017.